The show is brought to you by Ninja Alerts, which is having their snapshot in 2 weeks, around 2 weeks from today. If you want to stick Ninja, be sure to get on that allow list. We'll actually leave more information below. On the show, you can expect the latest news and innovations happening on Bitcoin Ordinals, mixed in with a little bit of banter. So, with all that being said, I'm Chris, joined by my co-host. I'm not forgetting you this time, Ken.
Oh,
Joined by my co-host,
you remember
Ken
me.
100. I did remember it.
You remember me. Oh, man, I feel special, Chris. Thank you.
Ayo, also joined by, I have him down as good things as his X handle, but he's, can I say your name? It's up on the screen now. Joined by,
Absolutely.
Okay, sweet. Joined by Mike Chavez. Sorry, I lost my place. The engineering for MetaGood NFT and On-Chain Monkey, previously working with AWS, is really cool. I just found that out before the show. Eli Herf, don't have to introduce him. He's been with us on the Not Financial Advice Spaces for a long time, head of community growth at Gamma. Jake Brown, the sourcing partner with BFF and host of the podcast Built on Bitcoin. And I believe Vel might be joining us later today. We have some really good topics. Of course, we're going to talk about Gamma. Of course, we're going to talk about on-chain monkeys. Might talk about some, Jake talk about some Bitcoin Frontier Fund. Going to have a lot of different topics tonight. But with all that being said, how's it going tonight, gentlemen?
Oh, it's going awesome, man.
Did I do good
Do you
on
like the
Trevor's
new
long intro?
I like the intro. I think, we sort of had a laugh before we started that you're building up to the Trevor introduction, but getting there. I think all of this is, starting to pay off, all that hard work. I've noticed you tweeting about ways to get engagement and how you built your audience on YouTube and whatnot, quite well. You obviously study how social media works to a deep level, which I'm impressed. Do you want to, I know it's not what we're going to talk about, but I'd love for you to just talk about that for a tick, because how do you have the time? You're a dad, you work, how do you have the time to study the socials? I just, my poor brain, I'm getting too old. I like Twitter or nothing.
Man, I feel that, honestly. And yeah, of course, we're going to talk about some Bitcoin ordinals tonight. But yeah, it's hard, man. 2 kids, a couple Web3 jobs, own a coffee shop, roasted coffee for it. Lots of coffee, lots of late nights, just like all of you that are on this panel and a lot of people listening. I was actually just having a conversation this week, and this really applies to everyone that's building in the space. It's there's not enough time in the day to do what you want to do. Because on top of already just working like regular people do, it's we really got to build and innovate quickly, whether that no matter what part of the field you're in. And that's the interesting part here, is because I even put out a post today basically saying I feel like I'm not doing enough, but simultaneously doing way too much, because there's always 100 things that could get done, especially in this space. So speaking of that, I mean, we'll just kind of go one by one, because kind of a soft introduction. What are you doing, Eli? You're talking about before. I introduced you as head of growth at Gamma. Just a quick, what you've been working on. What are you excited about?
Yeah. Well, what I'm excited about, you probably will have seen our prints product. So we're really establishing ourselves as a home for art on Bitcoin, which has been really cool, working with amazing artists and just spending a lot of time, really, I guess, kind of taking a leaf out of your book, been doing mini podcasts with our partner artists, just really helping nurture them and get them. Part of my role, I was a teacher for 10 years. I've talked about that before. Part of my role is a lot of education and help and onboarding and supporting and, creating resources. Like I said, recently been making mini podcasts with our partner artists, which has been super fun, writing blogs, obviously staying on the socials, getting on spaces. So I wear a lot of hats, involved in obviously some of our strategy and some of our kind of events and whatnot. I'm pretty pumped. I'm coming to Art Basel in December, and we're doing some cool stuff there. So it'll be nice. Hopefully you guys are all there, can meet in person. So yeah, the week goes so quickly. You going to be there, Ken?
I'll try. You're just going to have to, if the team is going to be there, I'll be there. I'll put it that way.
I need to redo.
Trevor needs to pay everyone, Trevor, you got to bring them all there. So that's key. But yeah, look, been super busy. And then I have my own project on the side, and we're doing cool things. So it's been really fun, I'm fortunate to work full time in the space. I love it. The weeks go so quickly, and like yourself, a couple of kids and trying, I keep pretty fit myself as well. So yeah, I think it's funny. Like you said, there's so much to do and not enough time, but at the same time, you just kind of adapt and do it. So yeah, no, it's been awesome. And yeah, I guess circling back to the Gamma stuff, it's really just working. I know Mike's probably doing a similar thing. He can probably touch on it, with Asura and what he's doing with Danny. But like, yeah, just because art on Bitcoin is what makes a lot of sense. We talk to the creators about the fact that they're eternalizing a piece of their art. Might be one piece, who knows? Maybe it'll be more once they get more used to it. But just for some of the creators who don't know a lot about it, when they realize that they're preserving their legacy in a way, that's when they're like, well, wow, like, if I make sales, great. Obviously, that's the aim. Artists, that's their job. Artists should be making money. But at the same time, they kind of also understand, I don't want to use the word like prestige. It's not really a prestige, but I guess the importance or the pertinence of actually like preserving that legacy, like eternalizing that piece of art. So they know that if it gets collected, great, and the collector's going to have it there forever. But also, regardless, like part of their legacy or part of their world is on chain forever, because that's what we'd be betting on, with Bitcoin. So I think that's been really nice. Like there's so many things that are in the space that are amazing. There's so much innovation, but like the very core, the very like central, most obvious thing, like the thing I can tell my friends that makes sense to them who aren't involved in the space. Like that's what I am just kind of like loving about right now, and about, speaking to artists about, because they're like, oh yeah, damn, like my IPFS pointers, like I put so much effort into that, and maybe one day they'll disappear. And like that almost, it's not to scare them. It's more just to be like, well, shit, like I'm going to keep creating across all chains, because I actually think they should, because, you need to be fairly agnostic in the sense that you need lots of different collectors. But at the same time, it's like really important for them, I think, as creators and just as people, to have something or more than one, piece on chain on Bitcoin. So yeah, it's, that's kind of like what I've been up to in a bit of a nutshell.
So yeah, when royalties though, you want to bring artists,
we offer them.
You're for royalties? Gamma got royalties on?
Yeah. So yeah, we've offered them and honored them since the start. So creators can essentially set them themselves. So they can decide if they want 0, they can decide if they want 5, they can decide if they want 2.5, 10, whatever. So it's like we've built out a UI whereby once they've got a collection or got a piece of art up, they can then decide, they can manage that, and they can decide on their royalties, and they can set that. So we don't force. We sort of like give them we empower them to make that call for themselves. So collectors aren't sort of paying optional or whatnot. Like if a creator puts royalties on their work, then then they're there. So it's that's something that's been really important to us, about honoring that, because particularly because we're going down the art line. There's a discussion to be had with PFPs and like lots of volume and all that sort of stuff. Like I understand that there's big arguments and whatnot around it, but like for independent artists, I think that it is, and we think that it is super important. And until there's a way better alternative, we're going to keep honoring them. Yeah.
I love it, man. We can actually circle back around, and like later on in this stream, we can actually look at Gamma and look at some of the art coming up. I would love to do that. I do want to hear a little bit about Good Things / Mike Chavez. Welcome, man. This is our first time talking. I want to hear a little bit about you, what you do, why Good Things, what made you choose that, and what you do, of course, with On-Chain Monkey and MetaGood.
Yeah. No, it's a real pleasure to join you guys, and thanks so much for inviting me. Yeah, so I kind of do a lot of things. Like I think like a lot of us, Eli mentioned he wears a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats, just got this brand new one. But no, we are a digital asset company at MetaGood. So first of all, yeah, my name is Mike Chavez. I go by Good Things on Twitter. And I work with Danny Yang, Amanda Terry, Bill Ty. Those are our co-founders. And then we have an amazing team. So I came into this space as an NFT collector in 2021. My first exposure to crypto was in 2017 during kind of like I'd say towards the end of the bull run, buying Bitcoin, getting a little taste of Ethereum, and then of course, a little bit of exposure to altcoins. But my main core belief was like in the technology. It was after a very long conversation that I had with a very smart friend. He finally orange pilled me, and of course, when the price goes up precipitously, that helps as well. But
Is he like known? The friend, is he like would we know him or?
So he's actually our lead engineer now. So he brought me into Bitcoin, and I brought him into On-Chain Monkey. So
cool.
I tell him I returned the favor. But yeah, no, he's a really good friend, really smart guy. He's one of the people that's been working with Danny, excuse me, and our engineering team on a lot of the Ordinals developments. So so yeah, I came in just as a collector, but I quickly, pinged Danny and asked if they were hiring. At the time, I was finishing up my master's degree in computer science at University of Washington. I was actually focused on artificial intelligence at the time. So it's kind of interesting because at that time, AI was within the tech sector, obviously known and an exciting thing, but like the general public wasn't very excited about AI. And they were very excited about crypto and NFTs at the time. There's a lot of articles. And so it's kind of switched now. Like now, not no one, but a lot of the attention has come off of NFTs and crypto for obvious reasons, fair market, and now we're very excited about AI. But the reality is, both are incredibly powerful platforms, and I saw in studying AI and my knowledge of just tracking blockchains for many years, AI runs on data and blockchains produce data. So the convergence of the two is going to be something that transforms our society in a way that like a lot of us, it's even hard to imagine, but it's a really exciting time because we're seeing rapid developments in both. So yeah, kind of just to sum it up, I started off as an engineer at MetaGood, did that for about a year, and then moved into an evangelist role where I do all kinds of stuff, but definitely help with branding, marketing, community, stuff like this, where I get to have fun talking with people like you guys. And it just depends on the day. But it's been a really exciting time working with MetaGood. Just had my 2-year anniversary, which is kind of crazy to think about. That it's been 2 years that I've been into NFTs full time. But just like Eli said, it's a real luxury to be able to work full time in this industry and to work with amazing people. Not just Danny and our team, but people like Eli and the Gamma team, like Trevor and your guys' team. Like there's a lot of incredible builders. And it's super cool because I think we all know, or we all have this very strong impetus toward believing that this is going to be a massive thing in the future, and it's kind of like this is our sort of Bitcoin moment, because I know a lot of us weren't there in the early days. I know I wasn't, and so it kind of feels like this is an amazing opportunity for anybody that's around that sees it. Like we're all building the future together in parallel. So yeah, really stoked to be here.
And why good things? I want to know. I can explain my handle after you.
Yeah. So
I can too.
Good things.
I mean, explain yours, not mine.
So good things. It just, I grew up. I was a child of the '90s. That's my first internet usage was AOL, and AOL is Messenger. So I knew the importance of screen names. And so when Twitter came around, I had no idea like that I would ever use it, but I'm like, let me create a screen name just in case. And it was, I think, 2008 or 2009, and a lot of them had already, a lot of the the best had already been taken, but Good Things was available, and it was a reference to it's kind of silly, but it's kind of a double entendre because there's a reference to Alec Baldwin's character in Along Came Polly. If anyone's ever seen that movie, he's got this catchphrase where he says "good things," and then obviously it's a positive name, and so it just kind of turned out that I ended up activating the account. I never used it until I joined On-Chain Monkey and started getting the NFTs, and it kind of became like an apt name for the kind of stuff that I want to see in the space, which is obviously positive development. So yeah, that's the origin.
Heck yeah. I do want to give a quick hello to Belle, the co-founder of XYZ News and NFT Girl, as well as a known space host. How are you doing today, Belle?
Guys? I'm doing
What's
great.
up, Belle?
Hey, Belle, welcome.
Hello, guys.
Good to
Sorry, I'm
see
late.
you.
Oh, you're
got a
good.
full house today.
Fashionably late though, because then you get the welcome once everyone
I was waiting for everybody else to join, and then it's like, all right, Belle's here. Now you can
The
Belle's here.
Never be the first one at a party. You gotta show up fashionably late.
It's a
But Chris,
skill.
you're always the first one though, bro.
I am always the first one.
In
Yeah,
Miami, you
always...
was already there before they opened. Like,
okay, to
you
be
helped
fair,
carry the furniture in, man. What's going on, bro?
All right, let me defend myself real quick.
Yeah.
In Miami, I couldn't drink. So if I showed up late to at the time, so if I showed up late to a party, everybody's already hammered. There's like no like networking going on. So I had to get there early with the other early birds, so I could actually network a little bit.
When the drinks come in, that's when the real networking starts, Chris.
That's true. That's networking part 2.
We met Belle. We met Belle at the Nifty's party. I forgot at what was the name of the place? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It was cool. I remember meeting her. She had her whole crew over there.
She did. She handed out shirts. I still got mine. I should have worn it tonight.
I still got mine too.
XYZ News shirt.
Yeah, you've been representing.
We were just talking that Eli said he was going to try or is going to make it out to Miami this year.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Flights are booked.
Dang.
It's a long way.
It's
from Australia.
It's a long way from Melbourne.
It's a very long journey.
It is
I'm excited about that.
16 hours over the Pacific to LA.
Wow.
And then whatever, and then a little layover, and then LA to Miami, whatever that is, like another 7 hours or something. So.
Oh my goodness.
So you have to make it like worth the trip. Yeah. You're going to be there for how long?
Well, I'll be there for a week, which is I reckon the shortest time that would probably make it worth it. But yeah, no, I'd been working at Gamma for 18 months, and I finally got to the States a month and a half ago for our team offsite to meet them, so I hadn't met them in person for working with them for 18 months. That was awesome, but that was in the West Coast, so I didn't have to do the extra East Coast flight. But yeah, it was funny. It's when you're from Australia, you look at the flight and you're like, oh, that one was like Melbourne, San Fran. And it was like 15 hours. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not too bad. And people are like, what are you talking about? It's not too bad. It's like more than half a day on the plane. But you just get used to it. You get used to it. Yeah. But I had 2 weeks that time, so it was worth it. But that was about as long as I want to be away from my kids. So I think this time for a week is enough.
I'm surprised you didn't go to Bitcoin Amsterdam.
Well, that's it, right? Like I think if I did 3 trips away within 4 months, my wife might leave me. So I don't want to. I don't want to risk that.
Definitely want to avoid that.
My kids are little. It's hard when they're little. It's hard. You don't want to be away from them for what it's like, Chris and Belle saying. You don't want to. When they're little, it's just different. I think when they're older and they don't want to spend the weekend with you, it probably won't matter too much. But whilst you're still their hero and they want to just hang with you all the time, it's like cute time that you never get back. And I really value that. I know sort of, long story short, I actually always wanted to be a dad. So kind of really sort of cherishing the time. So it was funny. I've traveled a lot in the past. And when I was in, the West Coast with the team for 2 weeks, by the end of the 2 weeks, I was first time I'd ever sort of properly experienced homesickness. Cause I was like, I need to get back to my family. This is weird. So yeah. Otherwise I would have loved to get to Amsterdam, but there'll be next year, who knows? There's so many of these things. And I think as the space gets, more and more popular and whatnot, there's events in Asia that are a lot closer to me and things. So yeah, there's plenty more to come, I think.
You got to choose. As a parent, you always want to take that time off, because it's like, all right, well, I need some adult time too, right? And as soon as you get there, you're like, yeah, I got to go back to the kiddos. I know that's how I feel.
Yeah. But look, it's all good. And my son, actually, he's 6. He sort of is starting to tune into what I do for work, and he loves it. And he's started to he loves all the PFPs, and he's actually a bit, creative himself, and he's, always doing art and things. So yeah, it's kind of fun to he's 6, so he's just going to grow up with this being totally normal. So, be fascinated. It feels funny. It feels funny that we're in this space kind of pioneering it, but we're just laying some foundations for people that are going to do way cooler stuff than us in 15 years, 20 years, who are our kids. It's so funny to think, we think we're on the cutting edge, and it's just I can't, it'll be kind of wild to think that for our kids, we talk, people talk about, mass adoption and whatnot, but it's like these are the kids because they're growing up with like Roblox and Minecraft and that, where they're already trading digital assets with each other. Obviously it's not on chain stuff, but it's not going to be wild for them. Like when you talk to people, whether it's your generation or the older ones who are like, I don't get it. Like, what do you mean you're trading this stuff, online? And what do you mean digital art? But for like the kids, they're like, yeah, of course. Like, it's what we do. It's what we're used to. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like it actually makes more sense to a 6-year-old than it does to like a 40-year-old. It's kind of, yeah, I that's what I kind of love, because you're like, it almost like means that it makes more sense what you're doing, because you're laying the groundwork, not for us, but it's like for the next ones. Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, on a lot of levels, though, the little ones understand it because that's what they. I don't know. Their entire lives now have been gamified. I think the younger that you are, the more gamification you understand and you expect, and that's just like education. Weaves it in also the whole thing, but also for like I have a teenager, and I was telling him yesterday about MoMA and Rafiq Anadol, right? Of how his artwork is the first tokenized artwork to be a permanent exhibition in MoMA. And so I was explaining to him why that's a big deal, right? Why the tokenization of that asset is much more different than just traditional art. And there was an aha moment, because he's a teenager and he sees these ridiculous things of like Bored at Yacht Club or punks or, these PFPs and, Instagram. And in his mind, because I haven't, because I probably could do a lot better with like educating him on that. But in his mind, and in his school, they talk about how NFTs are just a scam, and how, it's nothing but JPEGs and apes and stuff like that. And so I was explaining to him the real use case of tokenization, and why a collector, for example, would want those kind of, fine art exhibition to be tokenized, and how you could go into the blockchain. And I was explaining what the blockchain, potential ledger, and all that kind of stuff was, right? Nice. And it's different. I know. And it was a good conversation to have with someone his age, because it looks at it from like a different use case of not just, this isn't just games and play. This is actually something that can make our lives so much better and a lot more transparent, right? Which I think as a generation, we ask for. So. Yeah.
And I think ownership comes into it as well. Like, because they, if they have Pokemon cards, they know they own them. And it's kind of like using that ledger, using the blockchain example, you actually own this thing, which is online, which I think that's a powerful concept that maybe like doesn't get, spoken about enough. That there's like the proof of ownership, and you actually have custody of your things. Yeah,
which Magic Eden did drop their
I was just going to say that
cards. I know Courtyard had them too, but that's pretty cool. Like digitizing a physical asset, like are tokenizing it. That's
really cool. I was at a conference last year that was in Melbourne, believe it or not. There's the occasional conference in Melbourne called NFT Fest, and the best talk that I listened to was this winemaker in South Australia, because Australia is pretty famous for wine, if you like wine, and in South Australia, particularly a state which is Central South. There's some famous vineyards, and they're looking into, I need to follow it up. So, it was a year ago, maybe they've already done it, but they're looking into tokenizing really fine wine, because a lot of fine wine doesn't actually get drunk. Like it's an asset, but people who buy that wine, and this is very expensive wine, right? Like wine that's probably worth more than my house. Now, who knows? I don't know what it costs, but wine that the average person's not buying. But then because it's so expensive, it needs to be kept in very specific conditions, and those conditions are not the sort of conditions that the people who are even buying it potentially can keep that wine in. So at the moment, it's very centralized in the sense that they buy and they own that wine, but the wine lives at the winery in the special conditions, in their cellar, in perfect temperature, whatever. But they're talking about using NFTs, ordinals, whatever, for like the tokenization of the wine, so you can own it, and then it obviously becomes tradable, but you don't actually have to physically look after it. And then you can, if you want to drink it, which a lot of people don't, because then it's a lot of money drunk, but who knows? Each to their own. You can then physically redeem that wine bottle if you like, but it essentially allows, again, like you said, like the transparent ownership of finer assets such as wine.
And I can see it being used tokenized on.
I don't know what at that stage they were talking about ETH, but I'm curious if they've looked into Bitcoin.
Jake, you heard that?
This was over a year ago. What's that, man?
No, Jake, because Jake he calls ETH the test net. He doesn't realize that ETH is the trendsetter. Everything Ordinals and Bitcoin does is trying to catch up to ETH. Isn't that right, Jake?
I still haven't done my research. I have no idea what Ethereum is, bro. What are you saying?
I was going to say,
it's out there chilling.
The great
It's a really cool concept. It's a great concept, like expensive items, because they're the sorts of things that some people can't take care of, being tokenized, so you can then have it tradable and then it lives where it needs to live, like out of harm's way. I kind of like, that was a refreshing take for me. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, like there's a lot of legalities and whatnot that need to be worked out, and I'm sure they would be looking into it because they're a serious company. But I think that is somewhere that we haven't necessarily gone yet, that we will go. So yeah, I could look up. I need to look up what company that was, but it was a great concept.
Heck yeah, man. I'm gonna reset real quick. We are live on sure. We're live on X and we're live on YouTube right now. So I do see the comments. You can see the comments on Twitter, like clear, if you have like a separate device, but we can't show them on here. You can see them on YouTube. But Mike, I noticed you have a recent picture with Trevor. Are you at Bitcoin Amsterdam right now?
Hey.
No, that's actually so that's my token Trevor pick that I love to just throw up whenever I can.
Oh, that's funny.
That was in that was during Bitcoin Miami, so a couple months back. But he was such an awesome sport. I gave him a pair of our on-chain monkey socks, and he's like,
I see that he's wearing them in the picture.
Yeah, he's like, let's put them on. So yeah, we got a cool.
And he loves merch.
He rocks them well. And
yeah.
we
all love merch.
I'm not just saying this because this is Trevor's team show, but Trevor was looking good out there today. He was representing. So kudos to that man. But no.
We got to pull up some photos of that.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah,
Trevor was peacocking today. Did you see his tweet?
Yeah,
Trevor's one of those like just woke up like this type tweets.
Eli, please, what does peacocking mean in Australia? Because it might not mean the same thing over here.
Peacocking is like showing off, like they put their feathers out.
Okay.
I don't know. Did I say something bad in America? I don't know.
No.
I think you're good.
No.
I understood.
Okay.
Which is rare because I have Australian friends and we have misunderstandings sometimes.
We do, but it's all good. I've gotten used to working with like a majority American team. They've gotten used to me as well.
Have you guys like kept up with everything in Miami like today? Like how everything's going, or
Amsterdam?
Yeah, Amsterdam. We were just talking about Miami.
Hey,
in Amsterdam.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I touched base with. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Sorry, I just want to ask. This is my first time doing this live stream, so I'm trying to understand how it works. We're not live as in like a Twitter space, right?
Yes, you can see us as a Twitter. So you can see us as a Twitter space at the top of Twitter, like you would see spaces. But if you click on that, you see us and you see chat. But chat isn't retroactive though, so if you do that,
But it's not like where anybody else can call in like a radio show.
No.
Talk, right? It's not okay, we're not on there. Okay, so shouldn't we put our handles on here? Because I was trying to make sure that I was already following
Jacob,
if you
put whatever you want.
Following Mike, and I was like, how am I supposed to find you without it?
Yeah, you could absolutely put your handles on here. We could also, this is only our third show. We could always like tag everybody too, like as soon as we go live. It's probably a pretty good idea. That way, like it's right there.
Yeah, I just switched mine. You can actually edit it, Belle. Yeah, I honestly had no idea what name I should use. So
you're a good thing. See, this is what I'm talking about. I was like, wait, okay. So now
it's weird because if we're I recognize your voice and I figured, but it's interesting because that's a really interesting observation because we would know each other like like so quickly if it was just our PFPs, you know, if we were on a Twitter space.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting.
I mean, I would have gone into this already saying like, oh, hey, good, you know what I mean? Like, but I had no idea who Michael was.
It's funny how powerful.
Sorry, guys. I'm like stopping the whole show.
No, but you brought up a good point because it's so important. Interesting how powerful PFPs are because of that. Like people's whole personal shill. I wrote a blog about it. Maybe I should post it, but people's whole digital identity, their whole identity in this sphere can come through their PFP. And then then you essentially, I know some people change them, but it takes a lot of getting used to. Like if someone that you're so familiar with changes their PFP, you almost start to not recognize them. You have to like double check their handle to know that it's them. It's kind of a very powerful tool.
That's why the Ninja PFPs are catered to the person. That way you can kind of play off your already established brand.
Hey.
With colors and, you know, what
that is really cool.
And style.
That's a brilliant move.
Smart. PFPs need to be super intentional these days because of that. I think like even the way their size, the way they fit, like if they create like a good like the outline that's not too busy. Like there's so many things. If you do PFPs properly, it has to be super intentional. Like you see the really busy ones, you look back in the day, they don't actually work as PFPs as well.
Eli's a PFP critic with himself as his profile picture.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I do you know why I did that? I did that because I wanted a doxed PFP, but I didn't want to use a photo. So because I wanted to be doxed when I doxed, I wanted to have like, and a shout out to Madam Love who did it. She's a great artist. She's a beautiful person. She, you know, like we really spoke about it. And she's like, how do you want to be represented? And I, you know, told her a few personal things. And it was really nice. Like it was cool to be able to like have like an artistic representation of myself, but also it be doxed because I find photos a bit like Web 2-y, a bit like LinkedIn kind of like, and it's fine. Each to their own. People can use photos, but it just wasn't for me.
Is that art on chain?
Yeah, well, It's on Stacks. So it's hosted off chain. It's an IPFS pointer. I should inscribe it.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. Yeah, I own it. She NFTified it for me, but that was pre-Ordinals, right? Like if I got it done during Ordinals, it would have been inscribed. I should actually inscribe it. You know, we talked about that permanence at the start. Yeah, good call.
Good things. What were you saying earlier? We were specifically on the Bitcoin Amsterdam topic.
Oh yeah, so I touched base with Danny and Amanda. Danny was on a panel with Raph. Trevor was moderating, and man, I'm blanking on the other two individuals. I think it was Brufstar and
Jan was on there, and
yeah. So I haven't had a chance to get a full debrief on like what was discussed, but as far as I know, like the entire event, the entire day has been a huge success. I mean, I honestly am not super familiar with like the crypto community, you know, across Europe, but to get so many people, like, I mean, it really seems like everybody I know in Ordinals made a mass trip to go over there. And so I think that's a very interesting, like bullish signal, right? Is that people are willing to go to Miami several months ago. They're willing to go to Amsterdam now. They're likely going to go to a lot of them to Art Basel. So even though we're in the, you know, sort of the bear market, there's a very, very engaged collector base as well as a very engaged builder base. And so, you know, I think from everything I can see, like it's building season still, but it's like it's ramping up, right? Because everybody knows what's coming with the Bitcoin ETFs, the halving. So there's a lot of excitement in the air, and I'm looking forward to getting more kind of in-depth details about how the events went. But from everything I can see, it's been an awesome event.
Yeah, it looks like Ken's got some footage up right now from it. Does anybody here own an OBM?
I don't. I wish I did. I actually got to meet ZK backstage in Miami, and I just didn't get in time. And
was he masked? Was he hooded up? Was he?
No, he wasn't.
Hey,
surprising,
man.
Yeah, it was surprising because I didn't even know. I didn't realize he was going to be there. And then he just introduced himself, and then next thing I know, I see him on stage with the, you know, the mask and the hoodie. So yeah, it was cool to meet him.
Yeah.
Jake, weren't you at Bitcoin Miami as well?
Mm-hmm.
Did you meet ZK?
Yeah. No, I just saw him on stage. doing his incognito thing.
Did you meet Good
Not in
Things?
person. I did. I think we met at the coffee bar.
I like it.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great to meet you, Jake.
Who was drinking the stronger coffee? And was it Chris's coffee?
I wasn't there.
It wasn't Chris's coffee.
Man, Chris, you should be sponsoring every event. Let's put your coffee out there.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as who drinking the stronger, I was probably the lighter cup because I do like a shitload of creamer in my coffee. I'm like 50-50 ratio. So I'm basic.
Dude,
you put a lot of cream in your coffee?
That hurts, man. That hurts.
Oh, man.
I do.
How do you take your coffee, Chris?
I actually do wide variety. Like I mainly just drink like black coffee or cold brew, but like I'm not ashamed.
100%.
Like, we made some pumpkin cold foam recently for my shop. I drink a cold foam cold brew.
Well, it's Halloween.
Usually on weekdays, I go like just like black coffee, black cold brew, and then like maybe on Fridays or weekends, I shake it up with like something sweeter.
I'm curious, Chris, what is your tooling? What do you use to make hot coffee?
So believe it or not, at my house, I have a pretty simple setup. I have my mind's going blank on I have a Breville, and it can do automatic pour overs. So like I've programmed it to do like a pour over to like my like exact like brew temperature and like brew and like cycles and stuff like that, or bloom time and all that. But I typically go to my shop because I live close to my coffee shop, and I have a Nuova Simonelli. It's like a $10,000 espresso machine, and then I have like a lot of good equipment over there to do it. But at the house, I have a super basic setup. I like it because like I can set it the night before and like just have coffee when I wake up, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's an automatic pour over. Like I've spent so much of my life making coffee. It's like I don't want to go home and make a Chemex. Like I want something more automated. So
it's like people that I have friends that are chefs and they don't cook elaborate meals for themselves. So
yeah, exactly.
No. The same thing.
Like Heisenberg. That's Chris right there. He doesn't cook his own thing at home, No,
I got it. I knew what you're saying. We have a Breville that's super old as well. I feel like we're branding out Breville. They should pay us. And it still works super well. And we just like, it's only a single boiler. So I have to kind of, make the coffee, and then I don't really do the milk anyway, so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, it's a handy thing to have. And just like I reckon it's the process. Obviously like the coffee is great, but the process of making the coffee and like the grind and then that like aroma that you get, it's a very like therapeutic process. Maybe not when you're making it like 100,000 times at work every day, but like when you're making it,
I like brewing it. I never got tired of brewing it, but roasting, it's kind of different because
podcast
like kind of exposed more.
Chris is going to tokenize it, right? Chris is going to tokenize his coffee on.
Look, right now I'm just using my Ninja IP, which is what I was really excited about. But I got up there and everybody's like, "Man, are you like fixing world problems yet?" And I'm like, whoa. I just want to use my Ninja, bro. Like, that's all I want to do starting off, and then we can kind of figure out from there. Good things. I want to go back to you real quick. On-Chain Monkey, man, what was it like? Were you part of the team when they were on ETH, and then like transition to Bitcoin? Like, what was that whole process like? I'm sure it wasn't an easy process.
Oh man. I mean, it was exciting, to be honest. Like, so the first time I heard about Ordinals was probably maybe 2 to 3 weeks after the protocol, went live. And it was a typical thing, Twitter Spaces, a lot of people, a lot of tweets, NFTs on Bitcoin. And I glanced at it quickly. It was shared in our company Discord, and I'm like, I'm so busy right now. I don't have time to deep dive. This is a deep dive and I don't have time for it. And then it was the next week. So I faded for a week. And then the next week is when I caught wind that what Danny and the engineering team were up to, which was inscribing the entire Genesis collection, similar to how he launched it on Ethereum. So he did it all in a single inscription. But the fact that Danny was putting our collection in an inscription, I mean, I didn't have to question it because I work for him, but even if I didn't work for Danny, I just wouldn't really question. Not that you should never question, you'd always question.
I have questions,
but I knew it was it was a strong signal to me. Like this is some serious thing that I need to take seriously. And I think it was about 3 or 4 days later, he leaked like very late night in our alpha chat. We have an alpha channel in our OCM Discord, and he leaked to our members what he had done. And we had people in our voice channel within minutes that I'd never talked to before that had been holders for a year and a half. And it was just like, and this was this was pre Ordinals rush, so it was still very much ETH bear market, and we had all these people who just like everybody was in our Discord, super excited. It felt like the bull market that night, and I didn't go to sleep for like 36 hours after that because it was just such a big thing for us, to be moving to Bitcoin. And when he first did it, like we used all these features that are now becoming part of the protocol. But when it was done, these were just sort of concepts or theoretical stuff. It made sense to Danny and our team, like, and as soon as he explained it to me, like, I'm like, this is the way it should be done. But it was all there was excitement, but also like all this uncertainty about how things were going to play out. And that was I think it was February 8th that they inscribed the collection, and we're just about to distribute it to our holders this month. So it's been a very long process to get Genesis distributed. We inscribed it right away, but to get it distributed to our holders is a whole other story. And along the way, they've done all kinds of things. Like we're going to put it on Block 9 Sats. That wasn't originally part of the plan. It's going to and there's things I can't drop alpha on yet, but I will say like it's a definite upgrade. It is. So I think a lot of people kind of that are looking at on the outside.
Drop the alpha. No one's watching.
Yeah, they might think we're just doing like a copy paste, but it actually is going to be utilizing a lot of these newer features of Ordinals. And it's a significant upgrade. It's not just that the collection's now on Bitcoin. There's going to be other aspects of it that make it an upgrade. So aside from that, we've got our Karma collection, which is also going to go on Ordinals. We just announced that about a month ago, and we actually put out a pretty large proposal to our DAO. So our DAO voted to fund Genesis for 350 ETH, and puts the total cost of the migration at just over $1 million. Between the 350 ETH and the resources that our company is committing there. And then Karma is slightly more. We put out a proposal for 500 Ethereum, and so the Genesis proposal passed with 99%, and the Karma proposal passed with 97%. So we're extremely excited, not only to be doing this, but be doing it with the the backing of our community, like near unanimous backing. So it's for us, it's a really, really exciting frontier that we're on. Just like Eli was mentioning earlier, we're all kind of on this frontier of these things have never been done before. So yeah, it's been exciting. It's a typical crypto, like it's been cycles within cycles. There's weeks where it's like you don't sleep because it's exciting. There's weeks where you're losing sleep because like everybody is fudding, like ordinals or other external factors are happening. But all in all, I mean, I think about what I do today, what I've been doing with this company and this community for the last 2 years, and what I used to do in the corporate world. And it's night and day. There's like no way I could ever go back to that. So if you ever see me in a corporate job again, something has happened to Good Things. Reach out, call me because no, I'm kidding. But it's a super exciting time. Like we just don't stop as a team and a community, and the Ordinals community. It really, for me, it reinvigorated me because everything I saw happening on Ethereum. Yeah. Ethereum, the culture of Ethereum was one, and right now even they're still struggling. I know a lot of the top influencers, I know, a lot of the collectors, and everyone is struggling because the market prices are down, and there's not a ton of like strong product market fit. And it doesn't mean there won't be, but with Ordinals, like there is definitely strong product market fit. Like I think all saw that report come out from Galaxy Research, right, where they've got the data that shows like Ordinals adoption is happening at a much greater rate than all of the other three blockchains that are the top three NFT blockchains. Ethereum, Solana, and I can't remember what the third one was, but Polygon. So yeah, it's Ordinals is here to stay, but it's also, I think, quickly showing that there's new uses, new things that you can do with this platform, with this protocol. And there's, like we've talked all along since we all started talking together, Ordinals is opening up like a whole different community of collectors and builders and innovators. So I think that's the most exciting thing. And I wish I was in Amsterdam, but I can only imagine the conversations that are happening based on the conversations that we had during Bitcoin Miami.
Okay,
for sure. I think it also attracts a different type of community member. Like, you are getting people from other ecosystems coming across, but I think it's also like some people's first digital collectibles have now have started on Bitcoin because they were like Bitcoin first or Bitcoin leaning. They might have, we don't need to go into any like maxi stuff, but like there are more Bitcoin only / Bitcoin focused people that I think it's like brought out, and the innovation in 10 months, has been super positive for Bitcoin. Like, you've seen the miners are earning more money, which is healthy. There's more nodes, super healthy. Everything's kind of like just I don't want to use the word reinvigorating. It's like reinforcing just how like amazingly secure and decentralized the network can be, and Ordinals has really like opened that up even more. So it's been amazing to witness that. Just more nodes is more security, is more data stored around the world equals better for Bitcoin. It just shows how powerful that is. Yeah.
Well put. But I want to know your thoughts on it as well. Eli, you can finish that thought real quick. But we've never had a conversation about Ordinals. Like I know you've come from ETH. So I want to hear your thoughts on Ordinals and if you have any Ordinals.
I don't have any Ordinals.
Okay.
Actually.
Are you interested?
You're going to get one next week.
Are you
Bell's going to get one. Bell's going to get one next week when my project mints. So that's what's going to happen.
No, actually,
that'll be your first one.
I'm so glad that Trevor's not on, because Trevor would kick my ass if he heard me say that. Kim, don't tell him. He would kick my ass if he heard me say that, because because I've been on the calls since like day one, right? Actually, the reason that I know good things, the stupid thing is being recorded and now anybody's gonna know.
Yeah.
Like, I have been part of the conversation since literally day one, right? Since like February or March, whenever it is that it started. Why I don't have any Ordinals? Oh my God. I know I'm going to get DMs. I know that I am. I have no idea why. I have BRC 20s though. Does that help?
Hey, I'll back you up.
I know how to do it.
I'll back you up.
Okay, like, wait. See, now I'm like digging myself. I've even done tutorials on how to buy Ordinals. Why I haven't bought Ordinals?
Look,
you're not the only one, though.
Guys,
I do have
Ordinals.
Whoa, Ken, do you not own any either?
That's the wrong question.
You guys can just mint one of my projects next week. It's going to be good. First one, support old mate.
Is, do I believe in Ordinals?
I'm sorry for the wrong question.
Money talks, right, Bill?
That is a yes. And the answer to that is yes. Forget everything that I just said. I 100% believe in Ordinals and the development of it. And the whole reason that I even know, I'm like hot now. I'm like, shit, don't ask me that. The whole reason I even know who Good Things is because we had them on the show. If you know, because of the transition to Ordinals and because I believe in it so much. I do. All right.
I want to defend you real quick, Belle.
Go to someone else.
This is where, I feel like this is where other Ordinal shows or just like people in general might not like tackle this because like they're like, but this is banter. This is like me and Kid came from ETH. We're like DGen and we're talking with like professionals like Jake. So this is where the banter comes in. But in your defense, I feel I do have Ordinals. I have quite a few, but it does seem like other than some gems, like
a few.
Yeah, dude. When
Chris?
I've been having Ordinals like since like February. But my point for this is it seems like unless you can find those gems that are building, it's like for me anyways, it's like I'm either priced out. Like I don't know what on-chain monkey is right now, but I know at the time it was like half a Bitcoin. Same thing with OBM was pretty expensive. So like you're either priced out of like the solid projects that are building, or you got to find those like gems. So it's not that I like when you say that, but you still say you're like completely bullish on Ordinals. That's how I feel. Like I get it because like I'm honestly holding a couple projects that like you know, like I found a good entry on, and I do kind of believe in them. But at the end of the day, it's like you're almost either priced out of like a lot of the like the solid projects, or you know, you're just kind of in this like no man's land of, all right, well, what do I do now? So I get what you mean completely.
But I guess on the flip side is depends if you're buying into, there's different ways of looking at it, right? Like if you're buying into PFP projects, or then there's still some good ones that are a reasonable price, but you're right, there are ones that are priced out. Or do you want to just pick up a bit of art and get a few, you know, jump on Gamma, Shill, obviously, because I work there, you know, and buy some prints, which are like the recursive editions that we're getting, you know, with that fine artist group that we've curated. And you can go and spend not even $100 and pick up 4 or 5 pieces of, you know, beautiful stuff, just to like have a few nice things in your wallet just to sort of get started. So it depends on like your outlook. Are you buying to profit? You could probably like bet on some of those artists, you know, ending up being like part of this whole digital renaissance, and maybe their early prints, you know, might end up quite valuable. So there's different kind of things that you can collect. And I think like it's always worth remembering that like buying art is different to like buying an on-chain monkey, which I wish that I also have one. But, you know, it's like you own things for different reasons as well. So again, is it like, are you buying for the potential upside, or are you buying because, which is also great, you know, trading and flipping is important. Volume is super healthy and super necessary for market dynamics. But you can also kind of start your journey, you know, like Weasley, the lead artist at Megapont, who, you know, amazing pixel artist, one of the best pixel artists in the space, for fun, because he puts out his prints on Gamma for like $5. So you can pick up like an incredible piece by Weasley, who is, you know, I think going to go down as a pretty important guy in the space, art-wise, pixel art-wise, for you know, little, you know, almost nothing, just to kind of like have one in your wallet, be like, hey, you know, I've got an Ordinal and it's cool and it's by Weasley, and you know, it might never make you money, but it's like, what's $5? So you can start kind of anywhere. Which I think it's important just to remember.
We're in the business of making money though, bro.
Well, if Weasley,
what can we 10x? No, don't tell me all this collecting stuff. What can we 10x right now, Eli?
I'm bullish on my project, like I am. Like is
this financial advice?
Well, no, you can never give financial advice because you can never promise profits, because that's when the SEC investigates you. But we've worked with a really cool artist. We're minting next week, and holders also. Not that I think that ordinals need utility. I don't even like the word utility, but it's more a perk. My team built the Audi Gallery. You can check it out, audigallery.com. It's a free tool to have like your own virtual gallery. But holders will also get a premium gallery. So like the basic one will always be free, but holders, and we're minting, it's only to be $40 plus fees. So probably it costs like $50 odd, hopefully. You know, you get what is, I think, super cool art. Jake, you know the artist who from the guests from Stacks Days maybe, but anyway, he amazing guy, amazing artist, like bringing super dope art for, again, like we didn't want to go crazy. There you go. Stick your that's the website. But yeah, look, holders are going to get a premium gallery, and we think for like $40-$50 for the ordinal, like it, and you know, only 1,000 in the set, that it could be, I think it's like you can't really lose by just getting one. But yeah, so like there are that's what I mean. Like keep an eye out. There are projects like there's Sanj, a project called Ordinal Femojis. Ordinal Femojis are a really cool project, and they haven't put out their second set yet. Their OG set's like 20K, around the 20K mark. But they, you know, like he's got a recursive set of 2009, which is cool because it's an homage to when Bitcoin started, of recursive PFP collection coming out. Like I think there are projects to keep an eye on, like his, like mine, and obviously like Trevor, like you guys at Ninjas, like projects that haven't come out yet. That if you're looking for an entry or you're looking for something that's not there and you haven't been priced out of, you know, might be worth looking into. So the ship is far from sailed. Like you can pick up Megapunks now for way unders, in my opinion. Like there are some gems around. Like there's some projects that like, you know, Bitcoin bears that are still around and they're sub $1 million and they're kind of back at a very affordable price. Even frogs, you know, like they obviously like boomed, but they like had that's the Node Monks gallery, and you can press R and refresh it. That's like a custom one we built for them. Move around with your keys, like with your arrow keys. That's not what the gallery looks like. That was a custom one for Node Monks. And if you press R, the frames refresh. So you get press R and then a new one will come up. We built that for fun with for the Node Monks team, and they loved it. But the premium gallery is obviously going to be more premium than that. We went for like the old school Minecraft look for their kind of like special little environment. And that's built by like an awesome dev who's on my team. But yeah, look, so that's more my point is that the ship hasn't sailed. Like, yeah, OMBs are really expensive and OCMs are as well, and for good reason. But like, I reckon that there's some really interesting ones like around that are still like at attainable prices, or ones that haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
So
just
people shouldn't like shut themselves off to that.
The alpha there, for those that didn't hear it, is the Ninja Alerts Mint is coming up. It's like 2 weeks until the snapshot. Got art, got utility.
Well, same as ours, man. Our
maybe got Bell
going to
in
be
it.
Interesting.
Maybe got Bell.
Yeah.
This is joking with you, Eli.
No, but it's true. It's true though. Like the Ninja Alerts, people should be trying to get a whitelist. Like the ninjas are done by Boozy. Like Boozy is an amazing artist. Boozy and the artist who did our ones, like they're buddies, and they have like very similar styles, even though the art's quite different, from what ours are and what yours are. But like quality artists matter, and it's like how Good Things could probably talk about. I know we're about to wrap up. Like with OCM, they used recursion and the P5JS library to like create really unique sort of 3D, animated art. So that look out for the good artists, the quality teams, and potentially these projects that do have I don't like the word utility because I don't think people should be buying it purely for the utility.
What about profit?
Profit's
you
good.
Like that word?
Man, profit's good. People want to profit, so I reckon that ninjas, birds of a feather, the ordinal emojis 2.0. OCM, like if you can afford to get an OCM, where's the floor now? I don't know. I think it's under half a Bitcoin now, but like if that's a lot of money still for some people, but how strong the team is, and Good Things, Danny, like you're investing more in as well in the team too. Like teams are super important. Like it, the people behind the project, like, yeah, OMB, obviously, like some people know ZK, but he's not docs, doesn't matter. But that he's advocated for, and that they're the sorts of things I'd be looking out for as well.
OCM is a no-brainer in my opinion. I used to actually be an OCM long time ago, and to me, it's a no-brainer. Having been a part, they have a lot of history. Having been a part of the community, I can definitively say that the community is as strong as it gets, right? But in addition to that, Danny has a lot of history in the Bitcoin community and a lot of knowledge, a lot of like OG status in the Bitcoin community that doesn't get talked about too often. And, go back to like Ordinals Banter, Bitcoin Banter. I think part of the reason a lot of people don't have Ordinals yet is because they don't know about it yet, right? They don't.
Yeah.
She's trying to save herself.
Whatever, Ken. All right, look. I'm not looking at you right now. I'm like,
we already moved on, Bell.
Look.
No, I think you're right, Bell. I think you're right.
Block your little box here and continue talking.
Hey, Bell, you're right, because a lot of creators I speak to haven't heard of them. So you're right. Like it's still
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think people have heard of them, but I think there's just a misconception there's a misconception, right? Because you say a word like recursion, and that makes a lot of people just like throw their computer, right? Because they're like, I don't know what the hell that means, and it's actually kind of confusing because
parent-child inscriptions.
Yeah, and so that's actually one of the things we're grappling with at OCM is like, we want to make this as understandable as possible, but it is at this point it is highly technical.
It is.
But the main thing is that I would say is, with recursion, with parent-child collection provenance, with reinscriptions, these are three of the biggest kind of features. It's and I guess like what we showed with Dimensions, in addition to creating like great art, we really wanted to show this powerful new feature set, which is that you can reuse code. So you have now composability on Bitcoin. So for those who aren't familiar, when we created our Dimensions collection, it's the only collection that we have as an Ordinals collection today. We are moving both our Ethereum membership collections as well as our desserts collection. So we got 3 other collections that are coming in the next couple of months to Bitcoin. But the only one today is Dimensions, and that's the one we released on June 15th of this year. And what to create that, part of it was we had to inscribe these 2 libraries. Well, 3 technically, but 2 of them are famous libraries, p5.js and 3.js. And the reason we did that is because we couldn't have created like the high quality animation and the interactivity that our dimensions collection has on chain without using code. So the entire collection of dimensions is created using code, and it's creating using code that lives on Bitcoin. And one of the coolest things that about that is that anybody now can use that code. So what we're seeing is people actually referencing the code that was inscribed from our dimensions collection to create more art. And that is something that didn't exist on any other blockchain or any other computing system in human history. So these are, like Eli was saying, like we're at day 0, the first couple hours of day 0, and it is cutting edge. But because it's so early, what we're going to see is a ton of new powerful use cases, and a lot of it will be around art, because art is a very powerful use case for this protocol for Bitcoin. But you're going to see other computing applications come out of this as well. And so, yeah, there's just so much to be learning right now that I don't blame someone, I don't blame anybody who doesn't own an ordinal. And my little line that I always use is, don't be in a rush to buy, be in a rush to learn. Because, if you're out there buying, then if you're just like kind of like buying and trying to trade short term, like chances are you're going to get burned, And we saw it happen with the
Ken loves getting raised. Ken loves.
I mean,
of course, it's part of the game.
We're in this industry. I mean, I think like 99% of the world would look at us as if we love to get wrecked. But no, I mean, it's do what Eli said. Like I do encourage, like, whatever you can afford, like get your toes wet, or dip your toes in with learning the technology. Get a wallet, practice transferring. Like, get yourself set up so that when you find that opportunity, like, you don't have to stress and you are in. But yeah, I mean, Ordinals is here to stay, and it's going to be a massive thing in the next bull market. Whenever that bull market comes, you can bet your bottom dollar Ordinals is going to be one of the biggest prominent ecosystems in that. So yeah, it's never been a better time to be like learning about this stuff and experimenting.
Real quick, I have one question for everybody. What role do you think the pandemic played on the first bull market we had in 2021?
Huge
role, because
I think it was more a function of cheap money than the pandemic, but they both definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do go hand in hand.
Yeah, and it was a perfect storm.
We're paying for it now, though. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Everyone's predicting like a Bitcoin halving, post Bitcoin halving bull market, but we'll see. I think like global conditions will affect that. Let's not get too negative, but like there will be another bull market, because it makes sense given what Bitcoin does and how Bitcoin is designed. But I think like I hope I'm wrong, but everyone's like just guaranteeing that it's next year, which I find entertaining. But I think that there are cycles, and there are people on Twitter worth following to kind of like, learn properly. Not I don't mean hype people. I mean like proper like analysts and people that like are, Bitcoiners or Bitcoin first people that are worth following, like, Checkmate, or another guy called Dave the Wave who does amazing analysis. Like, he basically was the only one on Twitter he's a Kiwi guy, he's an older guy. He was like the only guy on Twitter who called the top for Bitcoin. Like, when everyone thought it was just like, he knew that it was like, bubble and froth, whatever they call it. Like, everyone thought it was going from 60K up to 100K. And then, he was the only one. He was like, I'm not even being a bear, I'm just being realistic. And so, yeah, there are people worth following. And they're really, like Chris and Ken, obviously. No, but, like...
Oh, yeah. Ken. Oh, yeah. Good answer. It's the best answer you've had all day.
I was late to crypto. I was late to crypto, like,
when did you get it? I was 20.
And I bought the 16K dip back, like, last... whenever that was.
Good man.
And that was, like, my biggest bag I've ever bought at one time was the 16K
That's a W.
Dip.
That's a W. That was a good spot to get
that. I got into crypto at 2020, so I was late-ish, but like I was more of a trader during the bull run. I wasn't really like accumulating, and then I started accumulating like when things faded out, and I lost all my money on JPEGs.
Yeah,
I didn't really lose all my money.
Your money
I just lost the money that on the things that Ken told me to buy.
I know, Ken, man, what's with the alpha calls?
Oh, you should have seen me when we started this show a little while ago.
What was your name when we started? What was your name when we started our show? I forget.
I had Gutter. Yeah, I was Gutter. Gutter's coming back, bro. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Gutter's coming back.
Let's go.
Yeah, didn't they get like
they just got acquired?
Yeah,
so who knows?
Yeah. They had a soft rug and then they got acquired. Yeah,
soft rug, man.
They're coming back, bro.
I think if
I still have Gutter, so I'm still Gutter.
If they get acquired, like why not? Like they're a chance. It shows that whoever took it over was a community member, wasn't it? Like that's a positive sign. That obviously, like I don't know any more than that, but like means someone cares enough to try and do something, which is important.
Yeah. They had a strong community for sure. I mean, Ken shielded like every single show, so it was definitely.
It was just the name. I never showed it. Oh, Chris.
Kennedy.
Chris, did Gutter not make you the most you've ever made in NFTs? Chris?
Yeah, it did. Huh? It did. Yeah.
Good time. Okay. Say no more, Chris. Say no more.
But anyways, guys,
it has provenance in the space, though.
It does. Yeah.
Well, everyone's heard of it.
Everyone's heard of it, for better or for worse. Yeah.
Yeah,
for worse. Huh?
No, I'm just kidding. I still got my clone, and I look. Like Ken said, that clone won me an allow list to Meme Land, and so I got a captain for having a Gutter clone.
Jan used to love pumping Meme Land, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I sold long before, long before he had time to pump it.
Yeah, right.
Wait, so I got a quick question because now we're going to close here soon. But we didn't find out if this is Bitcoin Ordinals banter, but like half the stage doesn't even own Ordinals, so that's still kind of wild to me.
What is an Ordinal?
Like,
I don't know what that is.
So where are you going with this, Jake?
But we've established that that's not the important question. The important question is,
the question is, what is it going to take for you guys to switch?
You said oranges?
What do you guys see?
I got tangerines. What are you talking about, bro? You said what would it take for us to switch to Ordinals?
Yeah. Like
diversify.
Is that what it is?
Profits.
Like your bags are so heavy in ETH that you can't convert it over to BTC?
Oh no. I mean, if there's action over there, right now it's very technical, I should say. So when they start getting some action going on, like to be into it right now, you really have to be really into it, into the code, provenance, this
for Ordinals?
Description. Yeah, 2XOs.
Not for buying. You're not launching collections. You're just buying. It's the same.
Buying. I'm not collecting. I'm selling, bro. If I can only buy, what's the point?
Yeah, but the buy experience is the same. It's just one button. It's in your wallet. You're good to go.
I know, but how could I sell it? Is somebody gonna want to buy it from me right away or not?
I don't know, man.
Jake, I'm gonna answer your question. I do have Ordinals though, but. Yeah. It's kind of like what I said to like defend Bell earlier.
PFP, Chris?
It's like what I said to defend Bell earlier. Is there's just not a lot of projects like that are in reach that I know of that are building cool things that like I want to be a part of. Now again, I do own a few, and I'm not like sitting here like trying to like there might be a lot that I just don't know out there. But as of right now, it's like I either own the projects that like I want to own, or the rest are out of reach. So I would be buying more if there was more opportunity for me to like get in and like want. I'm not a huge art collector. Like I like art to be like part of it, and I love the fact that like the art is permanent on Ordinals, and just on Bitcoin in general. But like I'm not gonna go start buying random art. I kind of like going back to the ninjas. I like how we use Boozy. It's artistic, but we also have a tool. We also have utility, Eli.
I named you three. And then
I'm just kidding.
Projects.
What three?
So Ninja Alerts, clearly, my one, and
none of those are released yet, though.
Well, we're released next Friday, but and also try and get whitelist for Ordinal Emojis 2.0. I like Sanj is a real one in the space. They've got like he's a builder, and like his artist called Swayze Digital is like a very, very good artist. So like Swayze and Boozy and the artist, it's funny because his name's The Artist for me. That's his actual name, which is kind of got a funny backstory. Those three are like quite similar and like really dope artists, and all three projects, including yours, obviously that's what I'm including, like are building something as well. and then good things. What was you're bringing something across, right? Will that be available for people, or do people own that and then they have to bridge it? How's it?
Yeah, so I was actually just gonna say for our ETH friends,
so 4 projects.
Yeah, so if you get a Genesis or a Karma on ETH today, so Genesis is going to be available to upgrade probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We haven't announced an actual date yet. That's a little bit of alpha. And then Karma is going to be not too long before that. So before the end of the year, or after that, before the end of the year. So Karma is a great entry. It's always something I recommend for folks if you don't want to, go into a Genesis right away. That's how a lot of people come in. But I think the floor, I just checked, it's like around 0.16. So it's very affordable. Like Bell said, we have one of the best
that is very affordable.
Wow, really?
Yeah. What's the
that's ETH or BTC?
ETH. We are gonna
and that's coming across
soon, but you got to show that real quick. What's the layer of like having a Karma versus like having an on-chain monkey? Like what's the difference?
What's the difference? So yeah, Genesis is it's a 10,000 piece collection. It's our original, and it's like our flagship membership collection. Karma is our second membership collection. And essentially, we're not in the game of like, promising, all kinds of crazy utility, but you get access to the community, you get access to the network. And then there will be drops, future drops that you'll get access to. People who own sets, so that you own like a Genesis and you own a certain types of Karma, you're going to get access to Alexi Andre, which is also dropping on Ordinals through our marketplace, Osura. That's going to be happening after Genesis and before Karma, I believe. So there's a number of things. I mean, you can also earn our banana token. I could kind of derail us out of this exit if I'm not careful, but there's a lot of reasons to own a Genesis and a Karma outside of just the asset. But I think
and you're involved in OCM's like ecosystem, which is like a strong ecosystem, which essentially I think is like a smart play anyway.
Yeah. I mean, so if you want to learn about Ordinals, like joining our community is a strong play. We have a lot of great engineers, investors, artists, and everybody is super helpful, and they all collaborate and work together on side projects. The one thing I'll say about Karma is it's going to be interesting because if you look at the collection, it's an incredibly highly detailed collection. It was created by our all-star art team. It's these three gentlemen that previously they were Disney and Pixar animators. So they actually worked on Academy Award nominated films. And when we transfer that over to Bitcoin, I think it's going to be one of like the highest resolution collections on Bitcoin. So it's going to be a 4 megapixel collection, which to put that level of detail on chain is something that's unprecedented. So it's going to be awesome. And I would love to, see you guys in the family, but definitely Karma and Genesis are a good,
so that's those like kind of, that's those kind of like 3D-ish kind of like cartoon, like I just want to make sure I'm on the right. So 12.6K size, 0.16 floor with just making sure I'm on the correct OpenSea.
Yeah, I'll share it in the chat here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, look, guys, this is Bitcoin Ordinals Banter. So at the end of the day, we're just chatting, kind of having some diversity up in here. I guess like you win the show if you ever convince Ken that Ordinals.
Ken's minting next week. Ken, man,
that Bitcoin is better than like
$50.
You win the banter if you can convince Ken on why he should buy.
Stop clogging up the chain. Who wrote that? Sorry, we're making the miners more money, and
this is an attack on
securing the network more. And
I wish you'd have had people in here in that chat. There have been people in the Twitter chat this entire time. It just doesn't show through this.
Fee revenue for miners is one of the like things that people are worried about in terms of like Bitcoin's one of its biggest security risks. Like that, this is a key thing. Like miners want to make money, and miners want to keep mining.
Don't you care about the miners, Ken? You can help support the miners. They're about to go broke.
Ken, do you not love the miners?
I like the DeFi miners, the yield farmers, save the planet and all that,
Look, guys, also, we do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:30 Eastern time. Anybody on this panel is welcome back. I mean, anytime. I mean, Jake liked it so much, he came back 2 days later. So
Look at that. He's sitting outside. He's chilling.
I know, lounging.
Let's go.
Bell's gonna come back next week and be like, "Look, guys, like just to address what happened last week." She's gonna start.
You know what? I need to redeem myself.
Fashionably late.
I will say, okay, wait. I am okay. I am fashionably late because I was with the kids. Thank you very much.
I get it.
You cannot knock me down for that. And I may not have ordinals, but I will freaking guarantee you that I have put up more ordinal people on my platform to shill their stuff, and everybody else made money except me. Why? Because I was hosting the spaces and not buying the goods. All right. So
Bell's doing God's work.
Thank you very much.
Did my sound go through? I gave you an applause. I don't know if it went through or not.
Yeah, it did. And happy Halloween, Chris.
Happy Halloween. Yeah, it's October, so
my son, this morning, it's the 13th here, so I assume it's the 12th for you guys. My son was like, let's put Halloween decorations up. I'm like, man, it's not for like 2.5 weeks. He's like, then I could tell he was getting upset, so I just like, it wasn't a fight I could be bothered having. So we've put some Halloween decorations up this morning. So we're starting to, get excited here. It's funny, in Australia, like Halloween's only really gotten big like the last few years. So the American culture's, infiltrating. But it's fun. It's fun. I like it. The kids love it.
Are you gonna get dressed up?
Hell yeah. I love getting dressed up, always.
As what?
Maybe, I don't know. What do you think I should get dressed up
we
as?
might be going off of we might be dressing up as an Australian cartoon this year.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who?
Bluey?
Yeah.
Bluey.
Yeah, we're thinking about doing Bluey. Yeah.
Bluey is like
I have two little girls, so like obviously Bingo and Bluey right there.
Yeah.
And then
so Bluey's big. Bluey's made it to the States.
I love it, dude. It's like the best. It's
for a while.
It's like I want my kids to watch it because I don't mind
Yeah.
watching it for like the parenting nuggets as well.
Yeah. And also because it's like
hilarious.
entertaining
Bluey
for
is the
parents.
best.
Okay,
Yeah.
and speaking of artistic, they have like 42 different artists that work on the show. I think it's 42. It's around that number.
Wow.
So for every single episode they do, which is like very short episodes, they have a ton of artists just to do the B scenes of like B-roll scenes of like there's a random waterfall. Well, guess what? An artist made that waterfall just for that scene. So that's a cool little plug there too.
I love that. And their IP is so strong now. Like it's kind of incredible in this day and age to be able to do what they've done. Yeah, nice.
Maybe they'll come to Ordinals one day. Yeah, that's a good note.
Wouldn't it be? Do you know what's funny? It's funny that you say that. Like, I'm curious as to what maybe they won't, maybe they will, but like what sort of, I guess, like famous web, I don't know what you want to call it. Yeah, like kind of TV show or kid, like everyone's sort of talking about everyone building IP. Like there's so much IP already built that they could just come and monetize even more. But yeah, it remains to be seen. Be fascinating to see.
Remains to be seen. But anyways, that's it to conclude the show. Any final words before we head out?
No, I just want to thank you guys again for having this.
Thank you. Good. Thanks.
Completely agree.
Loved hearing your backstory. Love hearing about on-chain monkeys. Going to have to go look at the ones that you suggested.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure to hang out with you guys.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching on Twitter and YouTube. We'll see you guys next. Well, I'm actually going to be out of town next week. So Ken might see you next Tuesday at 6:30.